What's up, KFG gang? It's your boy B-Boy John 25. Tonight I'm gonna do my WWE review and highlights. So you guys know, hit that like button, hit that red button. Let's get started. Smackdown was just a boring show. It was just a boring show. Nothing special. It was just a boring show. We're live from the Gala River Arena in Glendale, Arizona, as the power explodes. Michael Cole welcomes us. He joins by Corey Grave. They hype tonight's lineup. They also announced the Symphony of Destruction match with Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura versus Braun Strowman and Elias. Michael Cole, the musical instruments will be surrounded in the ring. The Usos in the New Day versus Robert Roode, Dolph Ziggler, and John Morrison in the midst. This match was just a 8-man tag. We go right to the ring, and out first comes the Usos. The Usos talks about missing last week and go into taking shots at John Morrison in the midst. They bring out SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Big E. The two teams trade phrases for each other until Big E points out they have one more title reign, and that makes the New Day better. This turns towards a friendly competition between the two teams. The music hits, and out comes Miz and Morrison. They take shots at the other two teams in the ring, and says should be jealous. Miz and Morrison are the best. No, they're not. Miz refers how Dolph Ziggler crashed Otis Valentine's Day date with Mandy Rose, and then introduce him. Ziggler comes out with Robert Roode. The Usos don't want to wait. They want to get this party started now. The two sides get ready to start as fans cheer them on. We go to commercial. Back from the break, and Jay starts off with Ziggler. There's chaos and interference attempt early on. Back and forth for a few minutes to start. Kofi gets dumped to the floor by Morrison, and then Miz follows up with a big boot to the face, while the referee was distracted by Roode on the apron. Miz launches Kofi into the barrier now. The heels with more cheap shots, but to Kofi as Big E tries to come help, but the referee stops him. Miz brings it back for a 2 count. Morrison tags in double team Kofi for a 2 count. Morrison works Kofi over and quickly tags in Roode to keep him down. Roode taunts Kofi partner and grounds him, making Kofi stare at his partners. Kofi keeps going for the tag, but Roode rakes his eye to send him back to the corner while Ziggler distracts the referee. The referee is distracted again by the Usos, allowing the heels to triple team Kofi while he's still down in the corner. Fans boo. Kofi tries to leap for a tag. Morrison rocks him and takes him to the top, talking trash. Kofi knocks Morrison to the mat. Kofi fights Ziggler away on the apron, but Morrison runs up and kicks Kofi in the head, knocking him from the top down to the floor. We go to commercial with Kofi face down on the outside. Back from the break, and Ziggler nails a drop kick for a 2 count. Kofi tries to fight back, but Ziggler drops him in the corner and then takes a cheap shot to knock Jimmy off the apron. Roode tags in, but Kofi launches Ziggler to the floor, blocking the double team. Kofi takes Roode out. Big E finally gets the tag, but Big E unloads on everyone as the Miz tags in. Big E slams the Miz and dances over him. Then hits the running splash in the middle of the ring. Fans rally Big E now. Miz blocks the Big E and tags him, but Big E thirsts him with a shoulder. Big E runs for a spear to end Morrison off the apron. to the floor, but Morrison needs him. They tangle, and Big E slams Morrison with the Uranagi. Morrison kicks out at 2. The screen starts flickering as it did last week. Morrison and Big E go at it. Morrison with a big shiny wizard, standing tall, standing shooting star press. But Kofi breaks the pin up. Kofi stops the Skull Crushing finale and sends Miz to the floor. Morrison takes out Miz with a corkscrew splash. Rude and Jimmy are legal now. Jimmy sends Miz out. Rude and Uso trade pin attempt. Ziggler and Rude hits the double team spine buster, and Ziggler and zigzag to the Uso. But that's not enough. Chaos continues with everyone involved. More finishers and counters continue. Jimmy gets the pin on Rude after a super kick in the middle of the ring. The winner of the match, the Usos in the New Day. After the match, the winners celebrate as the music hits. Drew Gulak stops Daniel Bryan backstage. Gulak says he noticed Bryan has some holes in his game, so he's prepared a PowerPoint presentation to help him. Bryan isn't taking this seriously, it appears. Gulak says he got pointers from watching Daniel Bryan with the Fiend, his recent tag team match in the match with Heath Slater. Slater apparently appears, and he's furious about Bryan beat him when he wasn't ready. He also made Slater kids cry, and had his fist up, and he wants another match. He goes on, and Bryan asks him if he's ready. He sure is. Bryan tells Gulak to help Slater out, and then walks off. Gulak says they got a lot of work to do. Still to come, Goldberg is here. Also, follow-up from Otis. Ruin Valentine's Day with Mandy Rose. Back to commercial. Back from the break, and we see a video package on recent events between Otis and Mandy Rose, including how Otis was broken-hearted after showing up to their Valentine's Day date to see Dolph Ziggler standing at their table with Rose. Rose and Sonya Deville are backstage talking. Now, when Tucker walks up, he says, Mandy Rose hurt his boy. She says this isn't the time. He just wants to talk. Tucker says Rose agreed to go with Otis on a date, and then she invited Ziggler. He talks about how rough Otis is taking it. She says she's invited Ziggler when Otis didn't show up. Tucker asks why. Did she send a text message saying she was running late? Rose is confused about that. And it seems she didn't see the text. Maybe Ziggler sets Otis up. Tucker goes on about how sweet Otis is, and then has some tense words for Rose. He walks off. Sonya says maybe Mandy dodged a bullet because she did have fun with Ziggler. Rose says yes, but she was kind of looking forward to going out with Otis. But oh well. DeVille says Ziggler is more like Rose type anyway. Rose might not be so sure of that. Cole sends us backstage to Renee Young for her sit-down interview with Lacey Evans. This interview just wasted everybody's time. This interview was just garbage. She talks about taking the Royal Rumble loss to SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley, hired as a Marine. They talk about Bayley and Sasha being bullies. Even Lacey Evans says she's changed and made progress with her own self because she first saw how much of a bully when she saw Sasha Banks and Bayley picking on her daughter. Lacey Evans says it is a new her. She's changed. Renee asks What's next? She has her eyes on the Elimination Chamber and goal is to become Smackdown champion at WrestleMania 36. Evans is all friendly smiles as they say a few words to wrap the interview. This interview was garbage. Smackdown of Destruction match. Baron Braun Strowman and Alliance versus Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura. This is nothing new. You know what I'm saying? We go back to the ring. We see staffers placing various large musical instruments around the ringside area. Cesaro is out first, carrying a guitar. Shinsuke Nakamura is out next with Sami Zayn, who is carrying a ukulele. Cesaro is saying and Nakamura hits the ring together as we go back to commercial. Back from the break, we see instruments at ringside, including the large piano. The announcer shows us what happened between these two teams last week. Out next comes Elias with his guitar. Elias says he doesn't even know who has his back, but when he wants to know who wants to walk with Elias says one thing he will say the same as we go into WrestleMania 36. WWE stands for Walk with Elias. Fans repeated with him. Elias begins his latest song and gets fans to clap along. He transitions into the introductions for his partner. And now comes WWE Intercontinental Champion Braun Strowman for a pop. Strowman is carrying the big stand-up bass that he used on Elias in his first ever Smackdown of Destruction match back in 2018. The bell rings and Nakamura starts off with Elias. Nakamura strikes first and goes to work, but Elias drops him with an elbow to the nose. Elias with chop and more strikes. Elias drives Nakamura down with a hip toss. Sami throws a tambourine in, but Elias grabs it first and uses it in the corner. Elias beats Nakamura around with the tambourine. Nakamura turns it around, but Elias ducks a tambourine shot and drops Nakamura with a jumping knee, sending Nakamura to the floor. Elias grabs a kick drum, but Cesaro blocks it. Strowman comes from behind and takes it from Cesaro's hand and smashing it over his head around his body. Sami ends up coming from behind with the ukulele, but it does nothing to Strowman. Strowman chase Sami around the ring, but Nakamura leaps at him from out of nowhere and taking the big man down on the outside. Nakamura smiles at the falling monster as we go to commercial. Back from the break, and Elias blocks a cowbell shot, using it on Cesaro. There's a table standing up on the floor now. Cesaro knocks Elias from the apron, putting him through a table. Sami cheers him on. Strowman runs over, flattening his opponent and sending them into the burial. Strowman launches Cesaro over the announcer table, head first to the floor. Fans cheer Strowman on. Strowman slams Nakamura face first onto the steel steps. Then the burial. Cesaro comes over with the guitar, but Strowman blocks it and chokeslams him on the apron. Strowman goes for the base, but Sami comes from behind with a big keyboard shot across the back. Sami tips the base over and orders Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura around. Cesaro and Nakamura send Strowman crashing through the base with a double suplex. Cesaro covers on the floor, but Strowman kicks out at 2. Elias comes over and fights Nakamura off. They tangle some with instruments, and Nakamura lands a big kick to the head to the floor. Nakamura charges with the king shouts out to Elias to the gong, but Elias moves and Elias kicks the gong. Elias sends Nakamura into the timekeeper's arena, then blocks a guitar shot from Cesaro. Elias fights Cesaro off and smashes the guitar over him as fans pop. Elias places Cesaro on a table as fans chant for him. Elias goes to the top, but Nakamura stops him. Strowman recovers and tosses Nakamura over the announcer table. Elias goes back up and nails a flying elbow drops through Cesaro on the table. As soon as Elias hits that for a big pop. Strowman scoop slams Nakamura for a running power slam from the top of the announcer table into the piano. Nakamura lands hard, and Strowman gets the pin. The winner of the match, Elias and Braun Strowman. After the match, Strowman and Elias returns to the ring to celebrate. We go to the replay. Strowman raised the title, and they hit the corner to post. We see Nakamura receiving medical attention at ringside, next to the piano. We get a video package on the Roman Reigns versus King Baron Corbin feud to hype their still cage as WWE Super Showdown. WWE Super Showdown. I'm not excited for WWE Super Showdown. King Corbin is backstage with Kyle Braxton, approaches him from comments on Super Showdown. Corbin says this will be the end of Roman Reigns, the end of vacay, that he is the locker room leader of the face of WWE. Corbin goes on knocking Reigns and the Usos. He says the fact that Reigns has never beaten him in a one-on-one, which is why he will take him out next week in the steel cage, using the chain link on his face. Corbin says after that he will replace Reigns on the poster in the billboards. Corbin goes on about how everyone will bow to him as the king after next week. Goldberg hypes Goldberg appearance again. We see Carmella backstage warming up. Still to come, the moment the Bella Twins will be on a moment of bliss with Alexa Bliss. Back to commercial. Back from the break, and out comes Alexa Bliss for the latest edition of her own, a moment of bliss segment. She welcomes us to a special Hall of Fame edition of her show. Bliss goes over the names for the 2020 Hall of Fame class so far. Batista and NWO. She announced the Bella Twins for the WWE for the Hall of Fame. She brings out the Bella Twins, Nikki Bella and Brie Bella, who are both pregnant. Fans cheered them both on as Bliss congratulates them. Nikki talks about how grateful they are, and says they wouldn't be where they are. Would be not have broken her burials day over the years if it weren't for the Bella Army. Brie agrees to give praise to the women's division for how they continue to raise the bar. The women's division in WWE just got awful. It just got awful. It just don't make no sense. The NXT women's division is way better than Raw and SmackDown women's division. That's just my opinion. I know TM and DJ Storms are going to agree with me. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Where was I? The Brie also mentions how grateful they are. They bring up the pregnancy and how they were a week and a half apart. Brie says with that and Nikki's engagement, the Hall of Fame induction is just the cherry on the top of the great year. They go on and thank the fans more and says they better see the Bella Army in Tampa for the induction ceremony. The music hits and they celebrate some until Daniel Bryan's music hits. Bryan comes out with their daughter Birdie. He greets the Bellas and hands the kid over to his wife. He heads to the ring as a yes chant starts up. We back to commercial. Heath Slater versus Daniel Bryan. This match I didn't really care about. Back from the break, and Daniel Bryan waits in the ring. Heath Slater is out. Back and forth to start the match while Drew Gulak is on commentator, talking about pointers he have for Bryan. If we bring up Drew Gulak, why y'all not using him on the main roster? It just doesn't make any sense. But anyway, Bryan takes control and goes to the corner. Bryan goes on and comes off the top and counters for a counter, but land bad on his knee. Slater kicks the knee and Bryan drops with a DDT for a close 2 count. Slater goes to the top for a splash, but Gulak tries to talk him out of it, waving him down from the announcer table. Slater ignores the advice and misses a splash. Bryan goes Bryan recovers and comes back as fans chanted yes again. Bryan delivers the yes kick. Bryan goes on with more chance and delivers a big knee, but Slater catches him and rolls him up for a pin for a 2 count. Bryan comes back with the running knee to get the pin. The winner of the match, Daniel Bryan. After the match, Bryan celebrates and leads a yes chant. The screen flickers some more, and we see Mandy Rose backstage waiting for her car to pick her up. Dolph Ziggler walks up and offers her a ride as he has his car with him tonight. Mandy Rose says sure and leaves with Ziggler. We see Otis emerge from behind and stack up production case. Apparently, he was watching Rose. Otis looks angry as we go back to commercial. Number one contenders match. Number one contenders match. Naomi versus Carmella. This match was good. This match was very good. We go back to the ring for tonight's number one contenders match. Naomi makes her way out back to commercial. Back from the break, and Daniel Bryan and the Bella Twins are announced for WWE backstage. We cut to a backstage pre-recorded promo for Sheamus. The Celtic Warriors knock Shorty G and Apollo Crews for trying to come at him last week. Sheamus says the problems for Smackdown are far from over, and now it's time for him to start hunting bigger praise. I gotta ask you guys one question. Where's Mustafa Ali at? Can somebody let me know down below in the comment section, where is Mustafa Ali? You know what I'm saying? That's all I want to know. Where's Mustafa Ali at? But anyway, it's time to end the infestation once and for all. They exterminate every rat in the locker room. Sheamus says he will do that in the biggest trap of them all when he enters the Elimination Chamber. We cut to G and Apollo Crews in the locker room. G talks about Sheamus being a bully that making him sick. Isn't backing down, and Crews shouldn't either. Crews said he don't need G little prep talk. He says G can't handle Sheamus his way. His way. He will handle business on his own. Crews walks off. We go back to the ring, and Naomi finished her entrance as SmackDown Women's Champion. Bayley watches from ringside with her title. The winners of this match will challenge Bayley at Saudi Arabia next Thursday at WWE Super Showdown. Out next comes Carmella as Greg Hamilton does the introductions. Carmella gets viral on her way to the ring as Cole shows us events that lead to this match. The bell rings and they do a handshake in the middle of the ring, but Naomi takes Carmella down to the mat, immediately grounding her with a headlock. Carmella fights free and then gets back to her feet. Naomi runs the ropes and drops Carmella with a back elbow through the air. Carmella shows off and taunts some before they lock back up, with Bayley watching closely. Naomi with a backslide for a 2 count. Naomi counters and out of the corner and hits a running low clothesline for a 2 count. More back and forth and pin attempts with counters as they tangle on the mat. Carmella comes back and sends Naomi flying with the head scissors. Carmella tosses Naomi out to the floor. Carmella runs for a suicide dive, but Naomi meets her at the ropes with a kick to the face. Naomi fights back and hits a crossbody for a close 2 count. Naomi goes to the second rope, but Bayley distracts us from the apron. Carmella takes advantage and slams Naomi to the mat for another close pin attempt. Naomi goes to the floor for a breather. Bayley talks trash Naomi in her face and fans boo. The referee ejects Bayley to the back. Bayley throws a fit at ringside as fans boo continues. Carmella takes advantage of the distraction at ringside, running the ropes and nails a dive on Naomi. Carmella stands over Naomi on the outside as we go back to commercial. Back from the break, Naomi drives Carmella over her knee for a 2 count. They trade strikes, but Naomi unloads with kicks. Carmella counters and levels her with another pin pin attempt. Carmella talks some trash in Naomi's face while they're on their knees. They trade strikes. Naomi gets the upper hand, but Carmella counters and levels Naomi for a close two count. I'm sorry, more back and forth. Naomi with a jawbreaker and big springboard kick that barely connects. Carmella goes to the floor to regroup, but Naomi launches herself over the top rope with a corkscrew plancha, taking Carmella back down on the floor. Naomi brings it back in the ring for a close 2 count. Carmella dodges a move in the corner, and Naomi hits the turnbuckles. Carmella with a crossbody from the top for a close 2 count. Carmella keeps fighting and goes for a suplex and from the apron, but Naomi resists her. Naomi kicks from the apron. Naomi launches herself in with a sunset flip for a 2 count. Carmella tries to escape to regroup. She rolls Naomi for another 2. More back and forth between the two. Carmella locks in the cold silence submission out of nowhere as fans start cheering them on. Naomi finally gets the bottom rope to break the hold. Carmella ducks a kick. Naomi catches a kick. They go on, and Naomi drops Carmella with a rear view for a close 2 count. Naomi drags Carmella in the corner but misses a split-legged moonsault. Carmella kicks Naomi in the face for another 2 count. Carmella shows some frustrations now. Naomi with a big knee to the jaw in the corner. Naomi comes off the top and nails a blockbuster. Naomi goes for the split-legged moonsault again, and this time hits for the pin to win and earn the title shot at Saudi Arabia. The winner of the match, the new number contender Naomi. After the match, the music hits and Naomi begins celebrating. Michael Cole confirms Naomi versus Bayley for a Super Showdown. Naomi and Carmella have a show of respect before Naomi goes back to celebration. We see security outside of Goldberg's door. Back to commercial. Back from the break, we get another promo of John Cena return next Friday night. We go back to the ring for a main event segment. The familiar music starts up as we see security backstage at the locker room door of WWE Hall of Famer Bill Goldberg. They knock, and out comes Goldberg. Goldberg marches to the ring and stops for the usual pyro. Goldberg hits the ring as fans chant his name. Fans chant his name and cheer him on. Goldberg says, "You know what? It's good to be back. It's been a long time since he said this in the ring at Smackdown. He's sure going to take his sweet time and enjoy it." He addressed the WWE Universal Champion, the Fiend Bray Wyatt, to a pop. Goldberg says, "Whoever and whenever you are knowing this, I'm ready." The Firefly Funhouse music interrupts as we see Wyatt on the big screen. He started as he was busy coloring in some of his eyes on the photos hanging up on the wall. Wyatt starts with the jokes in my games, but Goldberg isn't here for those games. He knows Wyatt and he's ready to end him. Wyatt says Bill doesn't know him at all, and he's not taking anything. Wyatt wants them to get to know each other before a Super Showdown. He introduced some of his special friends, the various Firefly puppets. Last but certainly not least, Wyatt knows someone who has been dying to meet Goldberg. He says with some more serious tone. The lights go out in the arena and then they come back on. Goldberg takes the mic and says, "It must be the Fiend, and he must be right behind him." Goldberg turns around as he predicted. There is the Fiend. Fans chant Goldberg. They both immediately charges at the same time, but Goldberg drops Fiend with a spear. Just a simple spear, nothing special. Corey Graves says the Fiend is hurt. Cole says Goldberg isn't done. The Fiend slowly gets up as Goldberg tells him to bring it. The lights goes back out as fans boo. The lights comes back on as the Fiend is gone. Goldberg laughs and nods his head. Like that was his thought. That's what he thought would happen. We hear Wyatt's laughs echo out across the arena. Goldberg hits the corner to post his music to start back up as fans chant for Goldberg, and Cole plugs Super Showdown as the go home edition of Smackdown on Fox goes off the air. You call this a go home show? This show was boring. The Naomi versus Carmella in the #1 contenders match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. That match was good by itself. But anyway, if you guys enjoy my WWE SmackDown review and highlights, drop a like on this video. Comment down below what you guys think of SmackDown, because SmackDown was just a boring show. Share the video. Share this video all over social media. My Twitter, my Instagram, and TikTok. My Twitter and Instagram and TikTok will be down below in the description. But I gotta ask you guys a question. Where is Mustafa Ali at? Where is Mustafa Ali? And I know TM and DJ Storms is going to agree with me down below in the comment section. But anyway, I gotta get up out of here, man. And this your boy, Big Boy John 25. And I'll talk to you guys later. And I'm out of here.